As I was working on this 50th anniversary bike for DFW Honda, I ran into an issue with the Panovista mirrors from Goldstrike, and basically it's because I'm using the sequential turn signals from PathfinderLED, and the Goldstrike Panovista mirrors don't play well with those. They just don't work properly.
This video is sponsored by Cruiseman's Garage Honda Goldwing Maintenance Video Series.
Now the good news is, and it's not in this video from what you're going to see from here on out, I did hear from PathfinderLED, and apparently they are updating their sequential turn signals, where in the future there will be a version that will be compatible with the Panovista mirrors. Unfortunately, I didn't have a set of those. So I had to improvise, and I'm going to show you the process and kind of everything I had to do to install these Panovista mirrors along with the sequential turn signal DRLs from PathfinderLED. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. In this next section, I'm basically removing the left mirror from the housing. This is the stock OEM mirror. Now, if you don't know how to do this and disassemble this entire mirror assembly, I have a video in my maintenance video series that shows exactly how to do this. It goes into great detail. It's actually pretty simple to do, but there are several parts and pieces, and there's a couple little tricks to it. Now here I'm actually removing the factory turn signals and replacing them with the PathfinderLED sequential turn signals. Now I'm just reassembling the mirror housing, and we're going to install the Panovista mirrors. We have to make sure that the wire goes through all the bezels and everything so they come out correctly. Up until now, this has been a pretty standard installation of the Panovista mirrors. First time I've done the installation. I did do the right side mirror first, so I learned from that. Now I'm going to go ahead and do it like Goldstrike recommends. But there is an issue with these turn signal mirrors, the Panovista mirrors from Goldstrike, and that is they have a special wiring harness, see if I can find it here, that, as you can see, it's got these little pins, and you add this connector, and what it does, basically, it's deriving the turn signal power and the ground from the motorcycle's turn signal connector up on the bike. Now the advantage to that is it's basically in line, it's looped in, and the advantage is you don't have to have an isolator, and you don't have to run wires back to under the seat, so you don't even have to take the seat off to install these. It's a very simple install. And even the little connectors, this is like a Honda OEM style connector. It's got the little pins that go in. You just have to make sure you get the pins in the correct way, but that's not a big deal. Where the problem comes in is on this motorcycle, I've got the PathfinderLED sequential turn signals installed that face the front of the bike. And when I tested it on the right side of the bike and I hooked it up the way Goldstrike recommends, these LEDs didn't work correctly. So what I ended up, I don't know if it's because the Pathfinder sequentials draw more power than what the mirrors are expecting. I'm sure it would work fine, obviously, with the OEM turn signals, but if you, for some reason, have these Pathfinder LED sequential turn signals and you want to have the Panovista turn signals, well, I'll just show you what I had to do. Basically, I had to cut off all their connectors and just create my own wires running back under the seat to my PathfinderLED harness. If you're not using the PathfinderLED sequential turn signals, then it's no problem. You can wire them up the way Goldstrike recommends. Now what I'm going to do, just to show you, so I'm going to go ahead and connect this up the way Goldstrike recommends and show you, and then we'll test it on the bike and you'll see the issue I'm referring to. Goldstrike uses a white wire as their ground and the red is their turn signal wire. Now the Pathfinder LED uses black as a ground, and they use the red as their turn signal. So already, this is different from OEM. OEM, I think, has a green ground. So what we're going to do, though, is we're going to put this in here just loosely. This is the way the connector would go in. I'm not going to put it in all the way, because we want to be able to see. We have to insert these pins so that they line up with the ones that come from the rearview mirror or from the turn signal. And since I know I can see here the red is on top, I'm going to put the red here on top, and then we'll insert this pin so that it clicks into place. Now I believe, I'm going to double check, I think it goes in like this, but I want to make sure. I'm going to look at the instructions and make sure. Once I get these pins inserted, then my white wire on the Goldstrike is going to line up with the black wire on the Pathfinder. Normally that would be the green wire. Just want to make sure I've got everything where they go. And this goes in, should go in just like this. And it clicked into place. I could hear it click. And now we're going to put the white one in, same way. This is the way Goldstrike recommends that you wire this. Now, what their way their system works is basically this wire, which goes to your turn signals on the front of the bike, is going to plug into this Goldstrike harness like this. There. And then this other connector that comes from Goldstrike is going to connect into the bike's harness. And by doing that, it is basically looping all this into one power connection to the bikes, using the bike's power to this front turn signal to drive these mirrors. But let's go connect it and I'll show you what happens. So I don't need to mount this mirror to perform this test. I can simply plug this in to the bike's harness, turn the bike on, and we'll be able to see how this works. Okay, so that's plugged in now. So let's turn the bike on, and we should have a left turn signal. Now this is my Pathfinder Sequential. You can see it's working. But if we look at the Goldstrike, you can see it's not coming all the way over. It's only going part way. So it just does not work using their wiring system. Now the Pathfinder is working fine, but this just doesn't have enough power to draw those to drive those LEDs. So what we're going to do to solve this problem is we're basically just going to wire these Panovista mirrors directly to my Pathfinder LED isolator. I do happen to have some universal adapters. I have this universal adapter from Pathfinder LED. Basically it has a ground, a running light, brake light, and a turn signal circuit. This is for the left side. Pathfinder LED uses blue for their left turn signal. They use yellow for their right turn signal. I just happen to know that because I've worked on them so many times. So the only wires I need on this universal adapter, and this is going to go into the plug-and-play Pathfinder lighting distribution hub. I'm only going to be using the blue and the black because that's the turn signal, that's the ground. And what we're going to do is we're just going to cut all this off. And we're just going to wire it up ourselves. So let me cut that off. We're not going to use that at all. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip some of this back. And you see what we end up with is just a red and a white wire. The red is the turn signal, the white is the ground. Goldstrike uses white as their ground. I'm going to strip a little bit more back. Give me a little more to work with here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use For the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to use a Wago connector, and I'm going to connect this to a long piece of wire, which will be a ground. I've already got it sitting up here. And then we're going to connect this to a long piece of red wire. I'm sorry, blue wire, because Pathfinder uses blue. So I'll be connecting red to blue, white to black. And I'll just use a couple of Wago inline connectors. And we're going to fish that wire. Now that's the hardest part, is you have to fish the wire back through the shelter. And to do that, I am going to remove the middle cowl, which takes time. It's a little bit of a pain. I've tried to fish the wires without having to remove the middle cowl, and it's just not very easy. It's easier for me just to remove the middle cowl. If you don't know how to do that, I've got a maintenance video series that shows you how to do it. Probably takes an extra 10 or 15 minutes of this installation. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and trim these back just enough to fit into a Wago connector. Now I will come back and do a custom connector on these later, but for the purpose of demonstration, I'm just going to use the Wago connectors. Of course, you could just use the Wago connectors, but I'm going to do something that's a little more custom using a Molex style connector. Actually, I've got them up here somewhere. Yeah, they look like this. So I'll do that later. Okay, now let's get my blue and my black wire. And I'm going to go ahead and fish these through the shelter. These are my two wires that are going to go down to the isolator under the seat. Okay, so let's take a review real quick. I've got my red, which is the turn signal wire coming out of the Goldstrike mirrors, going to my blue wire, which is my left turn signal wire. I've got this big long piece of wire. It's going to go up under the seat. And then I've got the black wire going to the white wire on the Goldstrike, because that's their ground wire. So I've got black to white, blue to red. And then here I've used Wago connectors, as you can see, to connect my little Pathfinder plug-and-play connector. Blue to blue, black to black. We're going to go plug this into the Pathfinder isolator. I will not be using the red and the white. White is a running light, red is a brake light. Don't need those. I'll end up cutting those off. But for now, I just want to test this before I run all these wires through the shelter. Let's make sure everything's working the way it's supposed to. A rear view mirror right here with the turn signal, the left rear view mirror. It's hard to see because it's reflecting the bike. You may not be able to tell it's a mirror, but it is. I've got it sitting on a microfiber cloth because we never want to run the risk of scratching the paint. We want to make sure we protect the paint. And this is my plug-and-play connector. We're going to plug this in. I'm going to plug it in over here on this top row, right there. And if all of our Wago connections are good, which they appear to be, now all this wire obviously is going to go through the top shelter. Let's turn on the bike and see if we have the left turn signals. Oh, I have to plug in the mirror, I'm sorry. This mirror has to be plugged into the bike for this to work. Okay, so now I've got my rear view mirror. I'm not going to mount it, obviously, because I've still got a lot, of stuff to do as far as wiring and routing wires. But this is my turn signal. Let's turn it on now. You can see we have a running light from the PathfinderLED Sequential. And now let's check the turn signal. That's working. That's the turn signal there. And now you can see how this LED is going all the way around like it's supposed to. I've got it upside down right now. It'll go like that. So that solves the problem. It just has to be wired in directly. So if you have these Panovista mirrors, and if you have the Pathfinder Sequential, this is what you have to do. You just have to run these wires directly to an isolator at under the seat of the bike, but you can make it work. Now on the right side, I've already done the installation. I did remove the middle cowl. I ran the wires. You can see I've got a little loom right here, and this will all get zip tied to this frame. And you can see there's some shrink wrap, and I'm using some special connectors. And then I've got it plugged in here, and I even put a little shrink wrap label so that whoever works on this bike will know this goes to the Panovista on the right side. I'll put a similar label on this once I get rid of those Wago connectors, and this will all be tucked up underneath the frame so that you really won't even see it. It'll be kind of hidden out of the way. Very nice, clean installation. Now let's take a look at how I routed all of the wires on the left side of the bike. Okay, so as you can see, I've routed my wires up through the shelter here, and I've got the loom, that's my red and black loom there, and I went ahead and put those inside this little rubber boot so that they can be kind of protected with the mirror connector or the turn signal connector. And then that loom goes inside here, inside the shelter. I was able to fish it down here. It comes down here. Now this will be zip tied to the frame underneath where you won't see it. And then it comes right back here to this Pathfinder LED. And I've got a little label on this, Panovista L. So that's the left side Panovista. So anybody working on this bike would know what this connector goes to. And I'll get the mirror reconnected and get the middle cowl back on, and I think we'll be done with this part of the project.